What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Comfort Zone Correction, the wrap-up lessons. I'm here with two seasoned entrepreneurs and friends of mine who wrote the book Comfort Zone Correction, Unfiltered True Stories in Successful Selling with me. Today, we are going to dive a little bit deeper into the stories from behind the book to encourage you to find a way out of your comfort zone with keys to open doors that will take you one step closer to your dream. I'm just going to read a couple of sentences from the book that really struck me. I know when you said these to me, Mr. Brown, it really kind of struck home with me. You have been domesticated. Yes, we as human beings are nearly the same as domesticated animals like dogs and cats or tigers or lions at the zoo. This really struck with me because it kind of put my own life in perspective, how you kind of grow up in a sort of privilege in a way where we don't have to go out and hunt for our food. We can just go to the grocery store. We have food on the table. We can just buy it at the store. We can even buy it in the same day. We can just go to the restaurant and bring food home. So it's interesting to think how domestication does become such a dream crusher. I know for me, for example, I got wrapped up in the social circle of work where, you go to work and then you go out for drinks. Kaushal, I know in your experience, did you ever find that when you first moved to New York that you got stuck in this kind of dream crusher cycle? Or did anyone ever say something to you that kind of threatened to crush your dreams?
I was fairly lucky with my experiences because I had good teachers. There were just a couple of scenarios when I remember that I was becoming more confident and I kind of figured out what I wanted to do, and it was to start the company, go out on my own. I like to have a very open dialogue, so I was talking to Mr. Brown about what my desires and aspirations are. I remember one of the guidance that seemed at that time was that why don't we just present it to the person that is going to be the leader for the future for the firm. I remember doing that, and it was like, nope, never going to be possible. So at that point, I was like, you know what? Nobody is going to work on your dream. You only have to do it. And that was like a reality check. And then it just kind of formed my belief at that time. And I think a couple of years later, I quit my job.
So you actually had a support system around you.
Right. I mean, I think I was blessed and lucky. When I look back at things, there were tough times, obviously, because a lot of people thought that he won't survive because the industry that we are in is a very capital-intensive business.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Mr. Brown? Did you have any moments where people called you crazy, tried to challenge your dream chasing?
I was not as privileged as Kaushal.
It's because you were his mentor, so that's how he was so privileged.
Growing up, I was not born with a silver spoon in the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, right from the childhood, I had to fight my way out to get my things done. In other words, you like it or you don't like it, but you got to do this. So you constantly keep on fighting till, you get what you need. Unfortunately, since I did not have anybody to look forward to or to mentor or no guidance or no suggestion. So in other words, I create my dream, and then you always think as to how and what should I do to go after my dream.
Mm-hmm.
So you make a mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake, but at the end of the day, you learn from every mistake that you're doing, and finally, you achieve that particular little goal that you have. It was kind of a different scenario, but I was blessed that after going through all those challenging environments, I was in a position to get what I wanted, but with a lot of challenges. So I lost a lot of time in the process of going and achieving what I wanted to achieve. If I had a mentor at the time when I was growing up, things would have been a lot different. But again, I'm blessed that I'm happy that being grinded through those experiences is made me a little more perfect and helped me to spend more time and give more of my experiences to Cow, which helped him to take him to the next level up. So I'm really blessed that, I met Cow and at least I can share some of my experiences with Cow.
And that's what I love about this book, that we're really trying to share your lessons with the world. So everyone, even if they don't come from a domesticated situation, that they do get the opportunity that they can kind of learn from a mentor, even though they didn't grow up maybe having that same mentor.
Yes, ma'am. Definitely true. Yes, ma'am. Yes, definitely yes.
So when you first moved to America, how did you end up exactly at JCPenney and Burger King? Because I remember you said you didn't even know the difference between like tartar sauce and mayonnaise, or how to even cook meat when you first started.
When you land in America,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what is about the soil or the earth. You are constantly being challenged and being motivated. You want to do something with your life in this country, something all the time, all the time.
Yeah.
So when I landed, I knew that, something here is my first step of my dream, because my dream was to fly away to a distant land. So I already flew at a distant land which was 8,000 miles away from where I came from. So my first step of my dream is accomplished. Now I have to go towards my next goal. It's now I have to make my future. I came with my wife. If I don't have little money in my pocket, I can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to put the food on the table because at the night. So I have to look for the job which gives me some sort of a cushion. I went for the job at the gas station, which was the easiest part, and it was a walking distance from where I was living. Sure enough, you are not used to those new phrases and the slangs in this country in the beginning when you're coming. You know what? I'll be glad to keep you in mind. I'm glad to call you back tomorrow. And you know what? All those kind of good words doesn't mean anything if you don't find the job. So I could not get the job at the gas station. So the next day I say, you know what? I'm not going to wait. I'd rather, get things moving. And I went to the town center of Stamford, Connecticut, where the brand new model was coming up. And luckily, the first place I see was JCPenney. I just went in JCPenney because they were saying, okay, we are hiring. So that was my first steps towards getting little money in my hand. And luckily, I happened to get the job at JCPenney.
And so how did you end up at Burger King after that?
They did not want to give me more than 4 p.m. job because I wanted more hours, because they said we'll give you from 8 to 4. But that was not enough for me.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm. So you were trying to like milk all the hours you could get in a day.
Yeah. I'm so young, so much energy, so much spirit, and all the power that I need to go after my dream. I say, you know what? I got to find some more hours. When you think deeply, the gas station will be the next place, the restaurants will be the next place, and the gas station already got the answer no. So the next, of course, place was the restaurant, and luckily, I went to Burger King, and here I am. Not knowing what I was doing, at least I got the job at $3.75 an hour. So I was glad I started working from 8 to 4 at JCPenney, and from 5 o'clock till midnight or to 1 o'clock in the morning at Burger King. So you know what? I had about 13, 14, 15 hours a day of job. I was very happy to work. I was very happy because, I was getting money from two jobs. And that was, to me, is what a great thing to have. Great thing.
I know you started to go to New York from Stanford to really pursue your dreams. And you would go to Rockefeller Center and put in, what was it, a roll of dimes?
See, first few years, I had to work just to survive.
Mm-hmm.
But the survival was not taking me anywhere close to my dream. I said, I can't keep on working like this for the rest of my life in JCPenney and Burger King. Though, both these companies offered me, hey, you know what, we want to train you for the management level. When you think about management level job, that means, I'll be stuck with them for another 5-10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Even at Burger King or at JCPenney. And I still don't know what is going to happen 5 years from now. So that means if I accepted their offer to be going for the management training, that means my dream is getting much further away from me, which is not right.
Mm-hmm.
So working for 2.5 years, I decided, you know what, I can't do this. And I told both the managers, okay, something, I want to cut off my hours now. though they were not happy because they wanted a guy like me to work because I was working almost like a slave. It was my first step since I had saved enough money for 2 years, 2.5, probably about 3 years. And I say, you know what, let me take my next step forward. So I started going to the city to see, how to get the ball rolling towards my dream. So luckily, the phone calls were only a dime, which was 10 cents. So I will go in the train, we'll go to the bank, we'll change, dime for like $5. I get the whole, stack of dimes. So 50 dimes. And this is how my life started. That was my first step towards going towards my dream, is to come out of my comfort of working for JCPenney and working. And again, don't misunderstand me. I was not unhappy over it. I was very happy. But at the same time, I cannot work there for the rest of my life because it is taking me further away from going towards my dream. So I had to make a decision. Should I continue to work over there or should I chase my dream? So I decided the latter, and everything worked out good.
And I love that even a small boat can catch numerous fish, because you didn't even have an office or anything. You just were like, let me go to the city, let me call some people and see if they take the bait, basically.
Yeah. See, everybody in the life to start somewhere. The biggest advantage in my favor was I was willing to listen to no from the people. I never expected a positive feedback, positive result from anyone. The more they say no to me, the more I was inclined to work harder and harder and harder.
Mm-hmm.
This is like working at Burger King. I mean, I did not know what was meat. I never had meat in my life. I never had fish in my life. I did not know what was tartar sauce. I did not know what was mayonnaise. To me was a foreign language to me. What is mayonnaise? And see, the more you learn, the more you get. And I was willing to absorb as much information as possible. So the same thing, the more people say no to me, I was thinking as to what mistakes I'm doing. Let me correct the mistake. And you know what? Every time somebody says no, please never take no as the face value. Go after it as to why somebody is telling no, and never get affected with the answer no.
Mm-hmm.
I was very glad at least, I came out of that word no to yes down the road in the future.
You just kept adapting until you found the right fit.
It's like what do you call that? Duracell or every battery. I mean, you keep on going till you go towards your dream. And you know what? One door opens. That's all you want is one door to open. You know what? The rest of the world, is going to follow you. That's it. And that's what I did.
So Kaushal, I'll bring you into the conversation too. When you first started your business, so how did the both of you guys, I'm sure it was kind of different because it was different time periods, but how did you guys both start going to the different conferences and things? How did you stand out? Because I went with you this past summer to go check it out, and these people have like whole houses in there. So I imagine starting out, you guys didn't have that kind of money and stuff.
Yeah, so in my experience, for me, the way it worked was again, I'll go back to my teachers that I was lucky. But the thing that I learned while I was growing into the business, as the experience gathered, that always needed a low profile. When we used to travel to the heart of the country, in the South or the Midwest, the people could be truly wealthy by wearing very simple clothes. They drive a simple Chevy truck, and you would not even imagine it. They're so down to earth, but they are probably multi-billionaires.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that really helped me while I was getting into the game, and especially works in the favor of startups, because you don't have a lot of money to spend on marketing, because now what you saw at the trade show is pretty much like a marketing thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why would somebody build a house for just 2 or 3 days and spend like a couple of $100,000 in building a booth, right?
Right.
You probably have to write so much business at that trade show. But the business doesn't happen there. It's just like a marketing thing. You get there, you showcase, and then the business follows. And in order for you to be that, you have to attract a certain kind of a customer. So in my case, what worked really well for me is that, we would just go with bare brick and bones. We'll still have like, backdrops and simple, like, so we'll design the booth tastefully, but we'll go like, where we have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So what it would do is like, it would take away a couple of things. So first of all, you don't have the pressure to sell, because you never know, like, who's going to come and who's going to buy, because this is the trade show. And, if you have appointments, then that's pretty much the only people you can count on, because huge landscape, people usually just come there for specific stuff. So, and the main thing that we would do is say hi to everybody. A lot of people don't say hi and they don't extend their arm. When you extend your arm, it becomes very difficult for the opposite person to not respond. Saying hi to everybody and acknowledging them, giving them a smile, having an eye contact. As soon as you have an eye contact, you have to look for that opportunity, which is a very split second where you can say, hi, my name is Kaushal. This is my company and this is what we do. It's not called aggressive. It's you're there. What are you there in trade show for? You're there for that, right?
Right. To meet as many people as you can.
And you're taking a chance, and if you get the chance, then you can dance.
Yeah.
So as a young company, usually courage is like, what works more. I remember in the beginning when I started out, I didn't even have enough money to buy displays. So I went to Michael's, I bought canvas, I hand painted them. I put Velcro strips on it, and on top of that, I put Velcro, ring boxes with Velcro underneath it. So then those were my displays, because I didn't have enough money to buy displays. So I think people at the end of the day, they want to see your tenacity, your hunger, if your product, if you're bringing a valid proposition, and at the same time, if you bring passion and you're following up with service, they see that. And people will give you a chance to that authenticity. And I think that's what it is when you don't have big marketing budgets, when you don't have a lot of money to pull. You have to rely on your creativity, your ability to adapt quick situations, kind of thinking on the go, making decisions on the go, and trying to be frugal, because you have a limited amount of capital to play with.
And that was a page out of Mr. Brown's book, isn't it? Because I remember, Mr. Brown, you were telling me how you used to even like hang things from the curtains or something, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Those are the days, like, where marketing was not even mature, People didn't even know what is branding and marketing.
Yeah.
People would just do business, they would just go to market, and it would be like cheap. But the branding and everything, the age of marketing probably was developing while they were in. And I think in the early 90s, right, Mr. Brown, they started marketing the whole campaign of "A Diamond is Forever."
That's right.
And so, that's when the age of branding came into play in our industry. So then people started understanding, oh, we need to package it right. We need to show it tastefully. It's luxury. It has to be pompous. It has to be like a lot of fanfare.
Yeah.
So it's like it evolved. And so by the time when I was in the digital age. So that also, by the way, I didn't want to undermine it, but it is, the e-blasting, the Instagram page, the Facebook. It's like, because in the beginning, you start at what you want is awareness. And that's the most economical way of getting awareness. You can get sucked into it if you get really crazy with all this ad spend. But if you just have a page and if you just have a presence, then it organically grows. If you have a website, and then people will go there. So that really helped us also.
It's very easy to spend money, very easy. But you need to be constantly creative and figure out how, by spending less amount of money, you can accomplish what you want to accomplish. To give an example, we got a cardboard box and we cut this down. I think it was about $10. And we got the markers and we wrote on the cardboard box the so special, this is going to be the special only at the show. And the whole thing was less than $10. And we put the display right above the curtain. So anybody passing through the aisle will notice, wow, what is this special going on? And nobody has this kind of display. Nobody has it. So by being different, you are drawing the attention of the people. And when people are looking at something, they're going to ask, show me what you have to offer here.
Right.
Now, this would not have been possible if I did not have something, something fancy or a hi-fi display over there. It was like a very cheap display. But guess what? It worked, and we happen to get a lot of customers from there. Uh, what I'm trying to say is this, you don't have to spend, a lot of money to be creative.
For that one, you literally thought outside of the box.
Yes. I was thinking, in other words, we were thinking constantly all the time as to how can you be different from the crowd? How can you make it something different? Let it be cheap, doesn't matter. So you go for it, and every time we did something different, people thought this guy looks to be crazy. But something, the moment somebody thinks you are crazy, this is where you are drawing an attention of that person, and then it's up to you as to how to get that person to buy from you.
So do you have any other tips in terms of, that's a perfect example where you didn't act domesticated. You actually thought outside of the box. You did something different, or maybe everybody else was doing the same thing. Do you have any sort of tips for the people listening in terms of different ways for them to get off the leash and maybe not be afraid to think outside of the box?
The most important thing is, do not think that you're going to succeed at the very, very first attempt. You can be afraid to do something dumb, and don't be afraid for a failure. Even if you fail, don't worry about it. Go for it. Try something different constantly.
Yeah, you have to try to win.
Exactly. You got to try constantly. Keep on trying something different all the time. And don't be afraid. Never be afraid to hear the word no. Because like to hear the word no from the other guy, so that I become much more motivated, more positive to give my 100% to the next person who is passing through the aisle. My whole suggestion is never be afraid. Not crazy. It might be crazy for the rest of the world, but you just take the step and just go for it. Just go for it. The success is going to follow no matter what happens. It's going to follow definitely.
And how about you, Kaushal? I know sometimes even your coworkers think you're crazy.
When you run a business, or when you're an entrepreneur, or when you are the creative driver for an organization, your mind is working at 1,000 miles an hour. And while you're thinking about sales, you're simultaneously thinking about branding, media, execution. You're thinking about supply chain. You're thinking about logistics. You also have some human resource issues on your mind, and because it's like your tribe, you're running with it, and it is your job to be intuitive. Because you need to know which customer special orders are important. You just need to know everything. When Mr. Brown was a mentor, and when I was in his firm, I used to always kind of criticize him and tell him, you micromanage too much, And he used to say that, we are in a business, or any business for that matter, it's all about trust, right? Even if you're in a restaurant, they're going to trust that the restaurant is going to use good ingredients. The chef is going to do a good job. And they're going to trust the server that the recommendations are going to be okay, and they're going to come to the table and everything is going to be worth the experience that they came for. So in the same way, it's not about micromanaging, but it's also about, you always have to oversee. People will always think what the hell is going on,
Yeah.
Because that's just because they are not as vested. But the people who are, people who know why you are doing, what are the main bottom reasons for it, they will see that the customer is the most important thing to this person. He's not worried about anything else. Everything just goes back down to the customer. And that's what I've seen in customer-driven organizations. When an organization is driven by satisfying the customer, then what happens is that the organization takes care of itself. And then the leader's role then becomes of taking care of the organization, of the people in the organization. Because it's like everybody understands that, we are showing up every day, not for the boss. We are showing up for the customer. And we have to make sure that everything that we do, that we're going to respond, and we know that when you say something to somebody, that, hey, I'm going to get back to you in half an hour. you know, you mentally and consciously that you're supposed to get back within the hour. But there are very few people who have that conscious calling,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So that is why, like, you know, as a leader, as managers, I think a lot of people who are in leadership roles, like, you know, they must be facing this type of a challenge, like that, or their team feels that we are crazy.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, you just have to make sure that you have you're overseeing everything, so the customer gets taken care of in the right way and the way they're supposed to be taken. So yep, I definitely relate to that question, and I sometimes feel like, you know, I'm crazy.
Carl was absolutely correct in telling that I was micromanaging. At that time, Carl was so new working for the company, and I was growing this baby up from the ground zero, and baby was growing and growing and growing, and cow entered the business, and of course, you don't want to, relinquish your job and the duties and everything. Okay, hey, cow, please take care of this. At least I want to make sure that before I hand over the responsibilities to cow and the work to be done by cow, I want to make sure that everything done the way it's supposed to be done, the way I did it. So you know what? Cow did an amazing job, but I was managing every detail of every activity that cow was doing. And he being like a creative genius did not like that. He said, hey man, something? You're micromanaging the whole thing. But at that time, I realized, yeah, I was micromanaging, but at least I want to make sure, cow, that the company is going in the right direction, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he did absolutely fantastic. I'm telling you something. And that helped, I think, and this is just my thought process, I think that helped cow to sharpen himself to micro detail all the thing that is going on around him in his new business that he started.
Definitely, and it is not like nobody else is going to be responsible for like your company, your brand, the expectations that you're going to set. You have to eventually overlook if the reputation is what you are, like, if it's what you care about.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be a great oil machine. It can run smoothly. It doesn't mean you have to be obsessive or crazy. But that was time when, like you said, it was growing. It was exploding. So it was happening so fast. Everything was happening so fast. So he's absolutely right. And because he was that way, it definitely helps, like, for you to learn from some other people, some other experiences and other mistakes. That what are other areas where you can improvise, so that way, like, you don't make the same mistakes again. Kind of helps you grow yourself faster, because you don't have to run back up after falling down.
And it's like an educated domestication. Like, don't do this or you'll fall off the cliff.
Yeah. You're taking a calculated risk, and you know that that there are certain repercussions, and you've tried certain things, so you take a safer bet. I think some of the smarter enterprises in this country, like, you have to continuously push the boundary. You continuously have to, like, realize, like, that there is always a bigger, better picture, and then there is always room for improvement. There's always room for making it better. There's always room for making it more efficient. If the company is not growing, it's dying.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other way, like, the company can go. It has to keep on going forward. If it is not going forward, then it is ill or it is dying. If you're not growing, if you're not thinking ahead, then something is wrong. If you're getting stagnated, that means that there are no ideas, there are no movement, there is no momentum within the organization. So then stagnation occurs. But if there is movement within the organization, there is innovation, there is R&D, there's something or the other, there is always going to be some kind of activity. And there's always going to be something that is going to move forward. When I look at we've been 9 years into the business now. When I look at the last 9 years, I see that every year, we had something new to talk about. Even though if they were not our top sellers, but whenever we go to a trade show, which kind of ties into your previous question, that what did you do differently,
Mm-hmm.
We have story-driven connections. Like, I realized, like, that every trade show we had something new to talk about, which was tied into a story, which was inspired by something, that design was inspired by something, or it resonated with some of the masses. And that just became our differentiating factor. And every year, that was the reason why people would stop by our booth. They would end up buying something else, but just because that we were coming up with fresh ideas and were not afraid to fail, it was just like something that, we're a school company, let's go check it out, what's going on there. Whether they're important or not, that's a different story. We just were able to establish a consistency that we're not afraid to try new things.
If I may add something which I just thought about it, why do we have to go so far, about 8-10 years? Think about us, me, you, and Kyle. When this project of the comfort zone correction book was finalized, edited, printed, we are very happy. We are very happy with the growth momentum when we started, marketing the book on Amazon. We were very much satisfied with the hard copy. We did not stop there. We could have been domesticated just by being happy selling just the hard copy.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? So now, from the hard copy, think about it. You decide, okay, let's go for the ebook. We are not satisfied. Ebook, no problem. We were happy with the ebook? No. We went for the next step up. And the next step, and the next step, and the next step. And here we are. Right now we have the podcast.
Yeah, now we're doing this project.
What I'm trying to tell you, we don't have to go so far to even think about anything. Think about our own situation right now with this book. We took a small step by persistence and patience of both of you. 8-10 years ago, the project was started. We got the book, not satisfied. So in other words, we are constantly evolving. We are constantly changing with the time, and here we are. Right now, we are on the podcast. So we got to evolve and change constantly. So the bottom line is never get domesticated like animals. Constantly evolve, constantly change. Please come out of your comfort zone, and the success is going to follow. Chase the dream.
If you feel like you were inspired today, please leave us a like, a comment. Feel free to ask us any questions that you may have. We're here to help. And stay tuned for our next episode, where we're going to be talking about the importance of taking a chance at every opportunity that gets introduced to you. If you haven't already, check out episode 1, where we talk about how Kaushal, Mr. Brown, and myself were all able to break out of our comfort zones. And that's why we felt called to write this book. And we really want to help you get out of your comfort zone too. So make sure you follow us on social media for more weekly inspiration. You'll find all of our links down below, as well as a link to our book that's packed full of knowledge that you can integrate into your daily routines to help you take that first step out of your comfort zone. And we are available on Amazon in Audible, Kindle, and paperback. And we will see you in the next episode.